You know that moment when someone says something so cruel, and the person you expect to defend you just sits there? That happened to me, and it came from my own brother's wife. What she said shattered me, and what he didn't say, that cut even deeper. I hope you'll stay with me through this story. If it connects with you in any way, please like, share, or subscribe. You never know who might need to hear it. After my breakup, I didn't have many options. I was heartbroken, jobless, and honestly just lost. My brother Tyler offered to let me stay at his place until I got back on my feet. It felt like a safe place. At least that's what I told myself. His wife, Melissa, greeted me with a tight smile when I arrived. Not rude, not exactly warm either, just polite. I didn't think much of it. Some people just take time. But little things started happening. Comments that didn't feel quite right. Like when I offered to cook dinner and she said, "Oh, no need. I'm sure you're tired from doing nothing all day." Or when she'd mention how some people just don't know when it's time to grow up and move on. She never said my name. She didn't have to. I tried not to let it get to me. I cleaned the kitchen, helped with groceries, even watched their dog when they were out. I didn't want to be a burden. One night at dinner, it all came out. I was talking about a job interview I had lined up, and I mentioned being nervous. Melissa laughed. Not a soft laugh, a sharp one. Then she said, "Well, it's not like you've got anything else going for you. Honestly, you've been a pathetic burden since you walked through that door." I looked at Tyler, waiting, expecting, wanting him to say something, anything, but he just stared at his plate. Silent. That silence was louder than anything she said. I sat there frozen, embarrassed, hurt. I felt my face get hot and my eyes sting, but I swallowed it down and excused myself. In the bathroom, I stared at myself in the mirror, trying not to cry, telling myself I just needed to hang in there a little longer, just until I found a job, just until I could leave. I thought family meant safety. I thought my brother had my back. But that night, I realized something painful. Sometimes, the people you count on the most are the ones who leave you alone when it matters most. And for the first time, I started to wonder if I really belonged there at all. After that dinner, I told myself to stay quiet. Just keep the peace. I didn't want to start drama. I needed time to find a job and move out, and until then, I figured I could deal with Melissa's attitude. So I kept to myself. I cleaned the kitchen, did laundry without being asked, even stayed in my room most of the time. I applied to jobs every day, sent out resumes, and followed up on every lead I could. But nothing I did was ever enough. Melissa found something to pick at constantly. One day it was my clothes. "Don't you think you're a bit old for graphic tees?" Another day it was my job search. "Are you actually applying or just pretending to look busy?" I tried to brush it off, but it started eating at me. She always said it in this fake sweet voice, like she was being helpful, but there was venom under every word. Tyler acted like he didn't see it. Or maybe he didn't want to. He'd come home, kiss her on the cheek, ask how her day was, and when she said something sarcastic about mine, he'd just laugh or change the subject. I kept waiting for him to step in, to say something, to defend me even once. But he never did. Then one night, I made a mistake. I used her shampoo. I didn't think it was a big deal, just grabbed it by accident in the shower. But later, she cornered me in the hallway, holding the bottle in her hand like it was evidence in a crime. "Did you seriously use my shampoo?" she snapped. "I'm sorry, I didn't realize." "You didn't realize? Are you 12? Do you just take things that don't belong to you now?" I was stunned. It was shampoo. I started to explain, but she kept going, louder, sharper, like she wanted Tyler to hear. When he finally came out of the bedroom, I looked at him, desperate for backup. He looked at Melissa, then at me, and said, "She's just stressed, Emma. Let it go." That hit harder than her yelling. I went back to my room, sat on the edge of the bed, and stared at the floor. I wasn't imagining this. I wasn't overreacting, but somehow I was the problem. I felt small, like nothing I said or did mattered. I was alone under their roof, and worse, I was starting to question my own sanity. It was supposed to be just a walk. I needed air, space away from Melissa's constant jabs and Tyler's silence. I grabbed my jacket, plugged in my headphones, and left. But halfway down the block, I realized I forgot my keys. Typical. I didn't want to knock and deal with Melissa's eye roll, so I turned back, hoping she wouldn't notice I was gone long. When I reached the porch, I stopped. The front window was open slightly. I heard Melissa's voice coming from inside, clear, sharp, and way too cheerful. She was on the phone with someone, laughing. "Oh my God, no, she's still here. I swear, she's like a stray dog that won't leave," Melissa said. I froze. She walks around the house like she belongs here, but she doesn't. I mean, who even is she anymore? No job, no man, nothing. It's actually kind of pathetic. There was silence for a second, and then laughter, hers. She's like a charity case. I told Tyler we were doing a good thing letting her stay, but honestly, he has no idea how weak his sister really is. If he did, he'd be embarrassed. My stomach dropped. I couldn't move. Every word cut deeper than the last. She wasn't just being snippy or stressed. She meant it. All of it. And she was proud of it. She thought it was funny. My hands were shaking as I reached into my pocket and grabbed my phone. I hit record, holding it up to the window. I caught maybe a minute of her talking, just enough to hear the tone, the cruel laughter, and the truth behind her fake smile. I can't believe she's still pretending like she's trying to find work. She's probably just waiting for us to get tired and kick her out. Which, by the way, I will. More laughter. I stopped recording and stepped off the porch, quietly. My heart was racing. I sat on the curb around the corner and listened to the recording again, just to be sure. It was real. It was all real. She wanted me to feel small. On purpose. She wanted me gone, but instead of being honest, she decided to break me from the inside out, slowly. That was the moment it all changed. All the little comments, the fake smiles, the cold stares, they weren't random. They were part of something cruel, calculated. Melissa wasn't just mean. She was vicious. And my brother had no idea who he was married to. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept playing the recording over and over, my mind stuck on the sound of Melissa laughing about me like I was a joke. I waited until Tyler was home alone the next day. Melissa had gone to some yoga class or something. I sat on the edge of the couch, phone clutched in my hand, heart pounding. "Can we talk?" I asked. He looked up from his laptop. "Sure. What's up?" I hesitated. I heard Melissa yesterday talking about me. I recorded part of it. His expression changed, confused, cautious. I hit play and let the audio speak for itself. He listened in silence, jaw tight. When it ended, he just sat there. I thought he'd be angry at her. I thought he'd finally see it. But then he shook his head. "Emma, she didn't mean that." I blinked. "What?" "Everyone vents. You don't know the full conversation." "I know exactly what I heard." He sighed and leaned back. "You were recording her? Seriously? That's kind of messed up." My mouth opened, then closed. "Messed up? She's been bullying me for weeks, and I finally have proof. And I'm the problem. She's just been stressed. It's not easy having someone else in the house, especially with everything going on. You've been through a lot, but so has she. So you're defending her?" My voice cracked. "I'm not taking sides," he said too quickly. "I'm just saying, maybe you're being too sensitive." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After everything, after hearing it with his own ears, he was still standing by her. I stood up. "You know what? I expected you to protect me. Just once. But you don't even see it, do you? You're letting her tear me down, and you're calling it stress." He didn't respond. I walked out the front door, phone still in my hand, got in my car and slammed the door shut. The second it clicked closed, the tears came. I gripped the steering wheel, shaking, trying to hold it in, but it broke through. My whole chest felt heavy, like I'd been carrying this weight alone for so long, and now I knew no one was coming to help me carry it. He wasn't just letting it happen. He was part of it now. Maybe not with words, but with silence. And silence can be just as loud. I moved out the following week. I found a roommate through a friend of a friend, an old college classmate named Leah who needed someone to split rent. The place was small, but it had light, warmth, and most importantly, peace. I packed my things quietly. Melissa barely looked up when I left. No goodbye. No take care. Just silence, like I'd been nothing but a temporary inconvenience. Tyler helped me carry one box to my car. That was it. No hug. No apology. Just an awkward pat on the shoulder and a stiff, hope things work out. Then the door closed behind me. It hurt more than I wanted to admit. I didn't expect a dramatic scene or some big speech, but a part of me still hoped he'd stop me, ask me to stay, say he was sorry, but he didn't. And just like that, I was on my own again. The first few weeks in the new place were quiet. I cried more than I wanted to, not just from the pain, but from the relief. I hadn't realized how much of myself I'd been shrinking to fit inside their house. I'd been tiptoeing around, second-guessing everything I said, walking on eggshells. Now, even with nothing but a mattress on the floor and an empty fridge, I could finally breathe. I got a job at a bookstore down the street. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave me structure, something steady. I started seeing a therapist, someone who listened, really listened, and helped me untangle the mess I'd been holding inside for years. The guilt, the doubt, the voice in my head that kept asking if maybe Melissa was right about me. The answer slowly became no. No, she wasn't. Time passed. I got stronger. Leah turned out to be a great roommate. She gave me space, but also made me laugh when I needed it. I began reading again, cooking for myself, even going out now and then. My world started to feel like mine again. But Tyler never called. Not once. Thanksgiving came. Then Christmas. I spent them with friends or coworkers who'd invited me, smiling through it, but feeling that sting every time I saw a family post online or heard a holiday song. Not even a text from my brother. It was like I'd been erased from his life, like walking out of that house had made me invisible. I didn't reach out either. I told myself I wouldn't beg for space in someone's life who didn't want me there. But deep down, it still hurt. It still felt like I'd lost not just a brother, but a piece of family that might never come back. It had been months. I'd gotten used to the silence. I stopped checking my phone, stopped hoping for a text or missed call. So when Tyler's name suddenly popped up on my screen one random Tuesday afternoon, I just stared at it. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times. Then I picked up. "Hey," he said, his voice softer than I remembered. I didn't say anything right away. I found that recording again," he continued. "The one you played for me." I stayed quiet. "I couldn't stop thinking about it," he said. "I know I brushed it off back then. I didn't want to believe it. But you were right." I finally spoke. "What made you change your mind?" He sighed. "Melissa's been different lately. Mean. Not just to you. To me. At first, I thought it was stress again. But it's more than that. She talks to me like I'm an idiot. Blames me for everything. It's like she's always angry now. I didn't say I told you so. I wanted to. But it wouldn't help. I don't know what to do," he said. "But I owe you an apology. And I was hoping we could talk. Maybe meet." I paused. My heart was racing. A part of me wanted to hang up. Another part, maybe the bigger one, wanted to hear him out. "Okay," I said slowly. "But if we meet, it has to be on my terms. Somewhere public. Just us." "Of course," he said quickly. "Whatever you need." I gave him the name of a quiet coffee shop near my apartment. Nothing fancy, just familiar. "I'll be there," he said. I hung up and stared at the screen for a while. The call had shaken something loose inside me. Not anger, not anymore. Just this strange mix of hope and fear. I didn't know what Tyler wanted from me. I didn't know if I could forgive him. But I knew I needed to hear what he had to say. And for the first time in a long time, maybe he was ready to listen. The coffee shop was quiet, just the hum of machines and soft clinking of cups. I picked a table near the back, facing the door. My hands wouldn't stop fidgeting. Part of me still wondered if he'd even show. But he did. Tyler walked in looking tired, like he hadn't slept in days. He spotted me, gave a small nod, and sat down across from me without a word. We didn't hug. We didn't smile. Just silence for a moment. "Thanks for meeting me," he said finally. I looked at him. "You said you wanted to talk. So talk." He shifted, clearly uncomfortable. "I've been thinking a lot about how things went down, about how I acted. I listened to the recording again. I don't know how I didn't hear it the first time." "You didn't want to hear it," I said. He nodded. "You're right." I took a breath, then started talking. I didn't hold back this time. I told him everything. Every comment Melissa made. Every way she made me feel small, like I didn't belong. I told him about the shampoo, about how she humiliated me in front of him. How every time I looked at him for support, he looked away. "She made me feel like I was crazy," I said quietly. "And you let her." He didn't interrupt. He just sat there, listening. "When I moved in, I was already broken, Ty. But she didn't just ignore that, she used it. She chipped away at what little I had left. And the worst part? You acted like I was overreacting. Like she was the one who needed patience." His face had gone pale. He looked down at the table, jaw tight. After a long pause, he said, "She's doing it to me now. I didn't see it before, but she's always angry. I can't do anything right. She criticizes everything. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells in my own house." I didn't respond. I let the words hang there. He looked up at me, eyes red. "I didn't protect you. And I hate myself for it." For a second, I didn't know what to say. That was the first time I'd heard any real regret in his voice. "I needed you," I said softly. "And you weren't there." "I know," he whispered. "I know. I was scared to see who she really was. But I see it now. And I don't know how to fix what I did. I just want to start with telling you the truth. You didn't deserve any of that." We sat in silence again, but this time, it felt different. Like maybe for the first time, he was really seeing me. I wasn't there when it happened. Tyler told me about it later, and honestly, I was glad I didn't have to witness it. He waited until Melissa came home from work. He was calm at first, which probably threw her off. He asked her to sit down, said they needed to talk. She rolled her eyes and asked if it could wait. Apparently, she was tired. He told her no, that this couldn't wait. Then he played the recording again, the same one I had shown him months ago. Except this time, he didn't turn away or make excuses. He let the whole thing play out. Melissa tried to laugh it off. "Are you really still mad about that?" It was a joke. I didn't even know she was home. He asked her if that made it better. That's when she changed. Her voice got sharper, colder. She started blaming me. "She's manipulating you, Tyler. She's always been jealous of us. She's just trying to come between us." He told her to stop. She didn't. She twisted everything. "She's been making me look like the villain since the day she walked in. Why are you taking her side?" He stood up. "Because she told the truth. And I finally listened." That shut her up for a second. But then came the tears. The fake, performative kind. The, "I can't believe you do this to me" kind. She kept trying to make herself the victim, flipping the script like she always did. But this time, it didn't work. He told her she needed to leave. Just for a while. He said he needed space to think, to breathe, to figure out what he wanted. She stormed out, calling him ungrateful, weak, everything but what he really was. Done. That night, I got a text. It was from Tyler. I should have believed you the first time. I'm sorry. Just those words. But it was enough to make me sit down, phone in hand, and let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. He'd finally seen the truth. And this time, he chose to stand up. Not just for me, but maybe for himself, too. It started slowly. Tyler didn't try to force anything. After the text, he gave me space. But a week later, he called. Not to rehash everything, just to ask how I was. The call was short, a little awkward, but it felt real. Honest. Like he was finally speaking to me as a brother, not someone trying to avoid the truth. A few weeks after that, he asked if he could come by. I hesitated at first, but something in his voice told me it wasn't about him. It was about making things right. When he showed up at my apartment, he was holding a paper bag. Inside were all the snacks we used to share as kids. My favorite sour candy, that brand of popcorn we used to sneak into movie theaters, even the cheap chocolate bars we used to fight over. I laughed without meaning to. I didn't know what else to bring, he said with a shrug. Figured I'd start with this. We sat on the couch, legs tucked under us like we were 10 years old again. At first, it was just small talk. Work, weather, books. But then the conversation got deeper. He told me he'd started therapy, that it was hard, that he'd spent years letting people walk over him, first in small ways, then bigger ones, that he thought loyalty meant staying quiet, even when it hurt. I didn't just fail you, he said quietly. I failed myself too. I nodded, not ready to speak just yet. But I'm trying to do better. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I want to be your brother again, not just in name. That cracked something open in me. We talked for hours. About everything. About Mom's old casserole we both hated. About that trip to the lake when we got sunburned so bad we had to sleep sitting up. We laughed, really laughed, for the first time in over a year. And somewhere in that laughter, something shifted. The pain didn't vanish. It still sat quietly between us, like a shadow. But it wasn't in control anymore. We didn't try to fix everything in one night. That wasn't the point. What mattered was that we showed up, really showed up, for each other. When he left, I hugged him. It wasn't long or dramatic, just real. As the door closed behind him, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Not closure, but the beginning of healing. Looking back, it still hurts. Not the way it did in the moment, but in a quieter, heavier way. I used to think the worst kind of pain came from strangers. People who didn't know you didn't care. But that's not true. The deepest cuts come from the ones you thought would protect you, from the people you never imagined would let you fall, like your own brother, like someone you once called family. Melissa didn't just insult me, she tried to break me. Slowly, quietly, in ways that made me question my worth, my place, even my sanity. And Tyler, the person I thought would see through it, didn't. At least not at first. But here's what I've learned since then. Sometimes, the people who hurt you the most are the ones closest to you. And it's not your job to stay silent just to keep the peace. It's not your responsibility to shrink yourself so someone else can feel comfortable. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to draw a line. It's okay to demand respect, even from family, especially from family, because kindness shouldn't be earned. It should be given, not out of obligation, but out of love, out of decency. And if someone can't offer that, no matter what role they play in your life, they don't deserve a seat at your table. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you're selfish. It means you're finally putting yourself first. And there's nothing wrong with that. I used to think I had to take it, that keeping quiet made me stronger. But silence only gave her more power. The truth is, speaking up was the hardest thing I've ever done. But it was also the most freeing. I lost a lot. I lost time. I lost family holidays. I lost a version of my brother I thought would always be there. But I gained something too. I gained self-respect. I gained peace. I gained the strength to walk away from anything that made me feel small. And slowly, I started to heal. So if you've ever been made to feel less than by someone who was supposed to love you, please hear me when I say this. You are not the problem. You deserve kindness. You deserve to be safe, even at home. And you deserve to be treated with respect, no matter what anyone says, even if they're family. What about you? Would you have kept your distance like Emma did, or tried one more time to fix things with your family? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'm really curious. And if you like hearing true-to-life stories like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss a new upload.